In round one and winning die rolls like a champ. Yeah, I want to play first. I have a pretty nice low curve. Here's a great start. Do I play Rattleclaw Mystic on turn 2? I don't know. But we got 3 drops for days at the moment. The thing is, Rattleclaw Mystic's just so good when you flip it up. It could be I just go turn 3, Jeskai Wind Scout. Actually, yeah, you know, I'm just going to play Rattleclaw Mystic turn 2. We're on the play, so we might be able to get in 2 damage with the Mystic before my opponent has anything. There's no blocks up right away. And then having a turn 3 Wind Scout's nice to get the evasion started. And then we'll have a turn 4 Mystic of the Hidden Way with the Rattleclaw Mystic out already, so that's great. Because otherwise I waste my turn 3 just playing the Rattleclaw Mystic. Turn 4, I'd be able to pay 2 to morph it up, which would get me 3 back. And I would be able to do the Mystic of the Hidden Way at that time, but then I wouldn't have my Wind Scout out. I'd only have the Rattleclaw Mystic and the Mystic of the Hidden Way. So it's much more efficient to just play the Mystic down. If I needed, say, the colors of mana for some reason, then yeah, maybe I go ahead and morph down. Like, for example, if I have green. Then that would matter. Even though this is a different 2-drop and I do like it, I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, continue this game plan so that I can possibly get some damage in and possibly get the Mystic of the Hidden Way on turn 4 instead of 5. What does my opponent have? It is a 2-drop, unfortunately. What is it? A Tormenting. Oh, no, it's not. All right. So opponent gets to filter through, but we get to go ahead and put 2 points of damage in and start playing our evasive creatures and have a Dragon Scale Boom, which will make this Wind Scout fantastic later on. All right. There we go. And so we'll have a bunch of evasion on the field. And hostilities will end up making life difficult should my opponent have it. But we haven't seen it yet, so I'm not in the mood to care. I'll do this before combat because my opponent's tapped out. The only thing that could be flipped with... I guess there is the 2-1. I didn't think about that. There's the flyer, the white flyer, which we could get my opponent with the Dragon Scale Boon. Alright, so that was a mistake. I'm still going to go ahead and attack. And F6, now that that's happened. Let's see, is this... Okay, good, it's not the flyer. I could have gotten had there, because I forgot the white, reveal a white card flyer, where you gain 2 life and it's the 2-1. It wouldn't have gotten me, but my opponent would have traded my Wind Scout, which I don't really want to do. Hello, Mantis. So this Dragon Scale Boon's going to do a lot of work here. What do I want to do with my Rattleclaw Mystic? The Morph could just block it, but it's kind of done what it needs to do. So I can be on the aggressive. Definitely attacking with the Wind Scout and putting the Boon on the Wind Scout. Making it huge and killing the High Spire Mantis while my opponent's tapped out. That's just to get a creature off the table and keep the West, and then the Mystic gets to kind of keep bashing through. And at this point, the Mystic's done anything it needs to do, so yeah, I'm going to attack him with everything. And just be on the aggressive here. Interesting. Do I want to put my Boon on my Rattleclaw Mystic? No, because my opponent's not... I'm happy with that trade. Again, it's just a 2-1 at this point. Krumar Bondkin. Alright, so my opponent's Mardu. Good to know. I will... Do I want to keep up my Dragon Scale Boon? Not really. I don't want to use it defensively. I want to use it offensively. So I will just continue to play out some more creatures. Keep the pressure on. And isn't there a way to make this more visible? Another Tormenting Voice. Opponent's digging, what, maybe for a black mana or something? Not entirely sure. This doesn't do a whole lot, does it? You know, on my current screen. But we can at least see some of the graveyard. Opponent got rid of Take-Up Arms, which is interesting because my opponent's getting to a place where that can be cast. And has the mana for it. Here's a Crippling Chill. I think we just use it here, right? Attack in for a bunch instead of Dragon Scale Boon. And really just go to town here. What does my opponent have? Ooh, Feeder Resistance. Okay. We still get to go ahead and attack with the Mystic. And the Dragon Scale Boon should still get us to a point to be able to at least attack in. The problem is this 4/4 is still going to allow the Wind Scout. It's still going to... It would be a 2-for-1. That's the case. But we might just go ahead and rock and roll the Dragon Scale Boon on the Mystic and just ride that to victory. Since my opponent's so low on life. Which means I just want to protect that guy at all costs. Is that true? Yeah, that's true. The thing is, it doesn't really help me to keep the Dragon Spoon up against most damage. Because one removal spell takes the Mystic out of the way. In these colors, it could just be a Ponyback Brigade, which at this point I'm fine with the, of course, this happening, because that's as much as the Highland's going to get to do. Wasn't that a Ponyback Brigade? Yeah, it was a Ponyback Brigade. So my opponent chose not to flip it, and instead wants to play something else. Must be something good. Oh, I wanted... Okay, I see. Some other morph or something else big. Butcher? That'd be scary. Alright. I think since my opponent doesn't have 3 mana up, we can safely put the counters on my Mystic. It doesn't really change the clock though, so actually now that I realize that, I might have just want to put on the Jeskai Wind Scout. Yeah, that was bad. Aerostorm goes down for my opponent. Yeah, I wish I put it on the Wind Scout so that my opponent would have had to block. There's no reason to put it on the Mystic, because it doesn't protect my Mystic from anything. Though it is nice to be able to... Ooh, and that's a nice follow-up. It's nice to be able to put my opponent down to 1. I think that was a misplay, for sure. And then we're just showing that. And hostilities can get us, but I don't think my opponent's running it the way my opponent's been playing out the creatures. Oh, looks like it's an end hostilities here. So I guess I lied. And if it is an end hostilities, well, let's think. If it's end hostilities, I should be blocking. I don't really need a block based on my life total, though. If it's a Aerostorm, then the Mystic's going to die anyway. And I don't want to lose my creatures to the Aerostorm. Interesting. See, I'm just going to take it. Because we're at a high enough life total. If it's in hostilities, that really sucks. But it still gets my... the War Striga off the table? No, okay. So I was going to see if I was going to do anything else. I was going to say, because the Mantis would have stayed alive, but... We would have drawn a land. Alright. Per the usual, not the optimal plays on my part. Hee hee hee. Not exactly the best player in the world. But good to notice, Dragon Scale Boon, didn't like that. Not too sure. I still like playing around End Hostilities and Aerostorm. Not really playing around End Hostilities, but considering that. Could bring in Stubborn Denial since we saw some decent non-creature spells like Feeder Resistance, Aerostorm. Those were good cards. Oh, the Take Up Arms. But I also just really like my deck against my opponent. No need to play our Naturalize. Yeah, do I want Stubborn Denial? Of course, the Whirlwind Etup is kind of lame. I don't think that we need more 2-drops. We saw a lot of the Morph stuff, but our Morph's going to be able to trade favorably against that. So I don't want the Sandbar. Whirlwind Etup gets eaten so easily, but again, it helps with our Ferocious. It's a big power dude to help us bash through. I like the Stubborn Denial play, though. I think I'm going to play it, but then it does mean I take out the Whirlwind Adept, right? I like the Parapet. The 3/3 flyer could get a little annoying, but we got good removal for it. Yeah, I'm taking the Adept out. I mean, it's fine, but I like all my other creatures way better. And I think Stubborn Denial is going to do work against my opponent. Alrighty. We're going to be on the draw this time. This is a bummer. I could be greedy if this was a forest and keep it and see what happens, but no matter what, I can't keep this hand with the island. Have to mulligan down. My opponent's keeping at 7. My opponent, by the way, is choosing to play last. This sucks. Well, I'm going to keep this at 5, even though it's going to be really hard to get in this game. But my opponent's looking to go late. These are powerful cards. I just need to draw lands. There's a land. We're almost there. Running lands off the top, please. Oh, well, we draw 2 drops. That's nice. We got something here. I assume this Highland game is going to be fairly bad against my opponent once the 1/1s come out, but I still liked it in the deck because it trades with the Morph so well. Morph? It's a Morph! Hey, and we got a land. Alright, Wind Scout, deployed. And we'll keep the Highland game for blocks. And I'll snap block what my opponent has. Could be the bird, which would kill my Highland game. But it would also kill my Wind Scout. Does my opponent attack in? I've already shown that I'm willing to trade morphs. My opponent has nothing, which is nice. Do I attack with both now? I'm behind, so I'm not really the aggressor here. We'll just get our 2 points of evasion in. Kill shot? Nope. Alright, that's fine. Get our dude down. Opponent just did nothing at turn 4, so that's cool. This might be a Ponyback Brigade now. Which it probably is, since now my opponent's attacking not last turn. It still trades with a 2/2, which is, again, as good as Highland Games is going to get against a Ponyback Brigade. Yep. There she be. If I rip a mountain off the top, I'm going to be the luckiest person in the world after a horrible mold of 5. Parapet will be good against my opponent. I feel like it's perfectly okay just to play that out while I continue to bash in the air. Eventually, this Savage Punch and Crippling Chill can help us pound through some more damage with our Wind Scout, though I assume the first removal spell my opponent wants to play is going to be against my Flyer, and then I'm going to be stuck, but hopefully by then, this Parrot Pit's kept me alive long enough at life totals, and I can get the Snowhorn Rider flipped to have a big old 5-5 with my Savage Punch and Crippling Chill. 5-5 Trample, Savage Punch and Crippling Chill. Opponent just plays some lands. There's something, but I'm just going to block with just the Goblin here. One Goblin, just the Parapet here. Just block one Goblin, take two. Because I don't want my opponent to have like a feeder resistance to kill my Morph. What else is there? End Hostilities. Alright, my opponent does have End Hostilities, which is a bummer. Nothing I can do, so there you go. My opponent's not playing into my counterspell that I aborted. Actually, it is, because I didn't have Ferocious up, so my opponent get paid one extra. Never mind. Alright. Well, we have a Stalker. That's a thing. One more land, I can turn it up, and I still have Savage Punch Crippling Chill. But my opponent has 6 cards in hand. Well, I knew this was going to be an uphill battle, didn't I? Opponent has nothing again. How interesting. Well, I'm going to attack. Kill shot. Nope. What's the chance of my opponent having 2 End Hostilities? Don't know, but I can't play around it. Just gonna get my morphs down. How does my opponent have nothing? Take up arms. That's what we're seeing there. Okay. I might have tried to double block, but I guess now my opponent's strategy is to go wide and use like a Trumpet Blast or something. Not too sure. Kind of nice that these guys weren't down before End Hostilities was played, because the fact that I was able to play the first creature was really nice. Mardu Banner. I don't care about the Mardu Banner. But yeah, it looks like my opponent's flooding out while I'm screwed, which is kind of nice. Ooh, this is also very nice. So we get to flip up either or if they get any kind of blocks on. And if they eat up a card from my opponent, I'm okay with that. Opponent's probably just making me use a turn, but if it's a removal spell or something, it was gonna get anyway. Me anyway. Mardu Charm, yep. Still get to do 2 points of damage. We're now even on cards. Ooh. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My opponent's doing 5 a turn. I think I'm going to... I really want this guy flipped so I can Savage Punch for value here. I should be F6, by the way. My opponent can cycle the banner now, plus still has 2 cards in hand. It's going to be pretty behind on the race. But I have nice cards that can help me get out of it. Oh, Arrow Storm. Alright, I need to draw something. Thorn Falls is not what I'm looking for. We'll save the Crippling Chill, even though I could use it just to keep the Ankle Shanker around, but that seems like a waste. I don't have any of those, but now my opponent knows about them. So my opponent doesn't get a card out of it, which is one reason why I don't like Despise, because see how it's so boring in the late game. And my opponent probably just wanted to see what it was, Considering it was very clear that I didn't have a creature, and of course not a planeswalker. But I guess if you drew it, you play it, whatever. Taking 5 a turn. If I can draw a decent creature, I might be able to get back in this game since my opponent's also out of life. Oh, Stubborn Denial. Another good, bad one, whatever. Considering. I think now I do have to do a Crippling Chill. I don't want to go down to a 6 here. Karoo Bloodsucker. Alright, that's fine. I'm doing this more to cycle than the life, necessarily, but yeah. Huh, another Savage Punch. Well, if I get a creature... Dude, if I had a one of the bears, that'd be great. I could play the bear and then Savage Punch stuff. Clear the board a little bit. Get back in the race. Savage Punch the Bloodsucker. I don't have those in my deck, so there's no use. Alright. Got my lands, but a little too late. Well, really, it was the end hostilities. I can't really blame the lands too much. Opponent cycling some more. Rush of Battle. Does that kill me? Pretty sure it kills me. 3, 6, 9. Yep, I'm dead. And boink. There we go. Okay, I do like the Stubborn Denial. I want to keep it in. End Hostilities, now that we know it's there, is the only thing I want to pay more attention to. I still think I want the Adept. Even though Hexproof is nice against the Aerostorm, it just dies to too many things. And we want to trade aggressively with our early stuff. I like that I'm going to be on the play, assuming I don't mulligan. My opponent also wants me to be there. Do you want to play first? Yes. Alright, well I don't have a mulligan, so that's great. Only a Rattleclaw Mystic, which isn't fantastic. But some still good cards. Same kind of question is, do I want to play the Mystic on turn 2 and just start the beats early? Or do I want to wait and flip it up? Right now, I don't have anything in my hand that I want to ramp into. So I guess we'll see what the first 2 draws are before that decision happens. But I mean, I have my lands and my colors, so this would only be if I wanted to ramp with something. And kind of like I mentioned last time, it can do that on its own just by tapping, so no need to worry about the fixing part of the flip. And playing on turn 2 is similar to getting a turn 4 flip. So yeah, we'll just play this on turn 2. There's no reason not to. And we're just waiting for my opponent. Alrighty. Opponent keeps at 7. I'm playing my rugged Highlands. So rugged. Let's see what my opponent ends up doing. Alright, so not a whole lot going on. I'll just bash in. And no follow-up. So sad. So sad. We'd love to get Ferocious online for our Punch and Stubborn Denial, but there aren't that many in my deck. Force Away would be good too. Let's see. I could force away the Karoo Bloodseeker. Ooh, Glacial Stalker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Doesn't quite get me the Stalker right away. I could just play as a morph, but then next turn I mean, it's going to leave me, well, allows me to keep Stubborn Denial up next turn instead of just tapping out. So yeah, I will go ahead and cast it face down right now. What I'm thinking is, next turn I could just not morph it right now, because I'll be able to hard cast it next turn anyway. But if I'm do the morph cost, I can kind of do a stubborn denial trick. And I do want to protect this Glacial Stalker as much as possible since I'm so low on creatures, and it does trigger Ferocious. Rashaka's Secret. Do I want to keep Stubborn Denial around? I think I do. That means I get rid of Force Away and a Mountain. Definitely want Savage Punch. I can't, by the way, Stubborn Denial right now because my opponent does have the Mountain available. I'm gonna ditch you and Force Away I like, but I think since I'm gonna have my Stalker at Ferocious next turn, this guy's gonna be worth it. My opponent is playing the Super Card Advantage deck, which is why my opponent wanted to play first or play second in the second match. But if I can just kind of maintain a sweet board presence, then I should be okay. Hey, in another land. Cool. So I attack in with my Glacial Stalker. I doubt my opponent's going to block. One Mountain won't do anything. And we're going to try to just hang on to our Morph till later. Try to get my opponent. Because my opponent could be thinking, oh, I'm going to play a land and then do a end hostilities or something. Do I want the extra 2 points of damage through, though? Yeah, why not? Because I'm going to do it at end of turn, and it doesn't really change much of what I'm going to be doing here. And I'll pretty much keep Stubborn Denial available at all times now to protect against end hostilities, which my opponent could be playing with so many cards in hand. Go for it, Bloodsucker. I'm winning this race for shizzle. We attack in for 6. And then I'll be happy. There is the actually, I'm not going to attack in with the Rattleclaw Mystic because there could be the Take Up Arms here. So we'll just do 4. Question is, do I want to Stubborn Denial the Take Up Arms? Leaves me open to end hostilities. And right now I don't lose to Take Up Arms. Yeah. I will allow it then. Jump block, yep. We'll try to clear the way a bit. I'm going to save both of these guys for later. How much does it cost? 3 to do, right? Yeah. So this guy can start getting big. Not super big, but could start. I'm down with 3. I still got to crack back for more. Conceivably, I could Savage Punch this warrior. I wouldn't do it into open mana, of course, since my opponent can just sacrifice the warrior. Would love to draw another threat. Tormenting Voice. Okay, so my opponent's digging for like Rush of Battle, or what do you call it? I'm gonna hang on to another force in case my opponent's playing like another Rashaka's Secret or whatever, so they don't need the mana right now. I'll just keep trying to get rid of whatever my opponent's holding up here. This makes the Rush of Battles worse. This is a kill shot. Oh no, my opponent's just sacrificing it. That's fine. Still okay with not using the Savage Punch yet with the Karoo Bloodsucker. We can do that later. And I'm not looking to quote-unquote race traditionally. Because I assume my opponent can gain life or do something to get there. So I am kind of playing more of a control game right now, which is why I'm not doing the Savage Punch yet. Oh yeah, what did my opponent discard? I forgot to look at that. Krumar Bondkin. Got it. What? Oh, the Aerostorm was milled with the secret. That's what it was. I'm like, when did that go down? All right. I'm a little on edge here because I feel like I have a very precarious board state. Opponent's letting us untap though. Ooh, Ice Feather Aven. How much? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So do 3, 1, 2. Yeah, so we can play the Ice Feather Aven down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could play the Ice Feather Aven, flip it to bounce the Warrior, and get in for 4. But remember, I'm not really worried too much about the damage race. So if I get another chump block here, or if my opponent does another chump block here, I'm actually okay with that. Opponent has 5 cards in hand. I assume this becomes a 4/4. Do I just flip the Aven now before my opponent untaps? I guess it leaves me with Stubborn Denial available. What can my opponent have that would make that bad, though? Not a whole lot. My opponent could just go ahead and replay it. I could block, flip. I'm going to go ahead and take the 4 damage down to 9, and then at end of turn flip the Ice Feather Aven. Because I don't want my opponent to be able to replay this, and I don't care that much at 9. I do want to be careful of like Aerostorms, which my opponent could easily have. End hostilities? Yeah, that's not happening. And I think that'll get us there. At the very least, we get an 8-point swing here. Yeah, I want to use the ability. Thank you very much. Ooh, drawing the land's not great. And then hopefully we'll finish my opponent off with a Savage Punch, but notice the 7 cards in my opponent's hand. Quite worrisome. If the Glacial Stalker goes away, Savage Punch gets way worse, of course. Ponyback Brigade. Not the end of the world. Mystic's a great draw. Alright, so I'm definitely attacking in for 2. I think we just Savage Punch the Ice Feather Aven to the Ponyback Brigade. Attack for 4 in the air. That means all these guys are lethal. Opponent has to block the Stalker. I don't want to trade my Mystic for no reason. So we'll keep the Mystic back. So that guy's gone. Let's do our attacks. Put my opponent to 2. And then I'll just play the Mystic unmorphed. Now that we've seen End Hostilities. To just present another lethal threat. I can't imagine my opponent having a second board wipe. But having like the Rush of Battle, gaining enough life, putting me down to 3 could be bad. So here we have blockers set up. My opponent does gain 6 life. Well, I would be blocking the 2 goblins anyway with my guys. And my opponent would be up to 8, but I'd get a smack right back down to 2. And my opponent wouldn't have a board, so that'd be nice. Ankle Shanker is scary. Because I'd be taking 4 damage down to 5, but then my opponent would be pretty much with only 1 mana up, and I'd have a bunch of lethals on the cracks of backs. We're at a life total where Aerostorm doesn't do it. My opponent could just have anything in these colors, though, which is what worries me, thanks to the 7 cards in hand. I don't think there's any... Feat of Resistance doesn't do it. Arc Lightning takes out the Rattleclaw Mystic and the Mystic the Hidden Way. And then there's a land which is probable in my opponent's hand. Rush of Battle. So I guess that combination of 3 cards out of 7 wouldn't kill me, but would certainly make it hard to win. Because I'd have to start keeping things back. I'd have to draw like another blocker or something. Yeah, it'd be pretty precarious. But it's just unlikely that that's what my opponent has. But again, just 7 cards in hand. That could easily be the case. Go Arc Lightning, take out my Mystic and take out both my Mystics. Rush of Battle in. Put me down to 3. Put Ninot back up to 8. Tormenting Voice is good. That's definitely a good thing to be seeing here. Discarding an Aerostorm. There's that second mountain, but I don't think we're in danger now. Rush of Battle is a sorcery, so I'll know before I have to block if that's something I care about. So my opponent had some powerful stuff with like End Hostilities and the Aerostorms. But it looks like there's a lot of cards also in my opponent's deck that don't do a whole lot. They're just the digs. Alright, yeah, so this is fine. My opponent wants to see what my last card is. It's an island. And then that's it. Alright, cool. Yeah, I was going to say, my opponent just had a lot of cards that did a whole lot of nothing. You know, digging through the deck is nice and controlling, but that's not the colors I want to be in a control build. So, yay! On to round 2.